the next of the Meditator's Four Friends that I wanted to contemplate. We could spend a month retreat on all of this stuff, of course. And the next one is mudita, which is the translation is sympathetic joy, which, yeah, it's okay. Sounds all right, but it doesn't really, onomatopoetically, it doesn't really evoke a very moving sense of what it really is. But this, I think, is a really, really good one for those of us living in Western developed nations. And sympathetic joy means that we are authentically happy when other people have positive things happen to them. So this is the opposite of Real Housewives of New Jersey. And our culture has made a practice of exalting qualities of jealousy, envy, vindictiveness, underminingness as entertainment. And, people can say, well, it's just entertainment, but let's face it, what we laugh at when we cross lines, it does erode that, it does erode something in us. So mudita, I think, it's actually, it's delightful and it's helpful. And it's also an incredible antidote to a lot of the messages that we're getting out there. So to practice mudita, to embody mudita, we actually have to really push against the momentum of culture. We really have to push against this momentum of being negative about other people, especially in their joys. And, we've all heard of mirror neurons. So especially if you see like young children playing and laughing, and they're so innocent, and they're just having so much fun with, just, I don't know, a pail or a trowel or an apple or whatever they have. They're so, if you imagine like a 2-year-old or just, before they really have formed too much of, they still have a strong will, but when they're happy and they're walking down the street, strangers will look at them and smile. It's that mirror neuron. You see them, they're delighting, and you delight. You can't really help it. Can we do that around people of our own age, our peers, our neighbors, people we don't like very much? When they have an authentic joy, that's a real joy, not just that they're being happy at the expense of somebody else, but an authentic joy, can we be happy for them? And when we do that, what happens is you realize, if you're really practicing sympathetic joy, mudita, you realize that you're always going to be happy, because there's always going to be somebody around you where something good has happened. And if you're looking out for that, and that's part of your practice to appreciate and be happy for them, be happy for their growth, be happy for their celebration, then even if you're, in your karmic momentum going through a really difficult period, even if things aren't going your way, or people are giving you a hard time, or the world's giving you a hard time, or your physicality is giving you a hard time, there's always going to be somebody who has some joy. And I think this concept of sympathetic joy gets short shrift. I don't think people spend that much time thinking about it. It's a little bit hard to reflect on, but when you start practicing it, So not just when you see that child and you feel happy because they're happy, but you really reflect on what that means and allow that to influence you. It can really transform, long habits of negative mind states. And some of those habits are culturally conditioned. Some of those habits may even be culturally conditioned over generations, depending on our cultural background. We may come from a cultural background that tends to be more negative. And, we just have that habit, not just our family, but our grandparents and their grandparents and their grandparents. So practicing sympathetic joy can really counter that, because sometimes we have this habit of looking at the dark side, looking for what's going to go wrong. And if we try to dig in there and fix why am I like that? Why am I always negative? What happened to me as a child? What were my family like? Sometimes that works. Family constellation, I know, has been incredibly powerful for many, many people to unravel, hidden knots and kinks. But sometimes we don't have to dig into things to let them go. Sometimes we simply have to cultivate a different habit and put effort and attention into that different habit. So, I'm not discouraging people from doing self-exploration and doing any kind of therapeutic work that is helpful. I just want to add this to the mix, that practicing consciously sympathetic joy may change us more than we thought. It might be more a part of our practice that might be more effective than some other things, especially because right now there's so much uncertainty in the world. There's so much change, and depending on which news stream you're on, AI is either the best thing that ever happened to humanity and is going to initiate this new age of wealth and prosperity and wisdom and illumination, or it's going to destroy the fabric of work and learning and morality, and even worse than that. So who knows? But it's probably going to be somewhere in between. And it can be helpful to cultivate those simple human joys when we're being faced with so much uncertainty and change at a level that we're not really going to be able to penetrate the future. We'll have to live through it as it unfolds. And some of us are maybe in positions where we can affect some of that, which is great. But still, we are all going to have to live through it together and try to help this next phase unfold in the best possible way. And one of the ways to do that is to keep celebrating the human joy and feel that human connection with other people and other creatures, feeling that sense of well-being and delight. Thought it would be good to do the short meditation, and this time really think about someone, and whether you know them well or whether you don't know them well. Maybe it's a colleague you don't really know personally, or maybe it's somebody in your family, but somebody who had a recent joy. And allow yourself to reflect on that. Maybe you celebrated with them, or maybe you didn't. But allow yourself to reflect on that as we drop into that sense of meditation and that current of meditation. And allow yourself to expand your feeling experience of a non-personal mutual joy. You know, it's not just, oh, I like so and so, so I'm happy for so and so, and it's me here and them there. But allow yourself to dissolve into this feeling of joy at something good arising in the world, because that is a good thing on its own terms. In Judaism, they talk about, bringing the sparks of divinity to light in the world, uncovering the sparks of divinity. It's almost like these little lights are like embedded in rock, and you chisel them open and those sparks of divinity come out. And it's good for the world in itself. So when we think about this concept of sympathetic joy, it's not just a personal thing where you're being a nicer person to somebody else, but we're dissolving that sense of separation so that we're celebrating the emergence of goodness in the world because it's a good thing. And it takes away, I can't be happy for them because they did this to me, or I can't be happy for them because I'm going through this, or it releases some sense of double checking our motives in a way that's not helpful. So let's allow ourselves to just drop into another short meditation and really think of a situation or a person where they they had something good happen. They had a joyous event happen. And whether you appreciated it at the moment or not is not that important. Just let yourself expand and get in touch more subtly with that sense of joy at the arising of goodness, because it's a good thing in the evolution of the world. Maybe your daughter had a baby. Maybe your colleague got promoted. Maybe your friend got a good diagnosis. Maybe your child did well in school. Whatever it is, just anything that you can put your attention on in a very concrete way to allow the sense of sympathetic joy, of mudita, to be concrete, and yet take it deeper, take it broader, take it out of the personal. So it carries that gravitas, that weight, that ability to transform ourselves. And when we transform, it's of benefit to everyone. Letting yourself celebrate the things that go right. Letting yourself appreciate good things on their own terms without reflecting them back to ourselves. Everything doesn't really have to mean something about us. It's okay. Letting yourself be easy with the meditation, just enjoying the current of meditation, not worrying about how long it'll last or how short it'll be. And you can allow yourself to release the meditation, really letting yourself enjoy that feeling of joy, that feeling of the arising of goodness.